Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neeru Tandon from Department of English, VSSD College, Kanpur. We are discussing paper English Language Teaching. In this paper, this module named Communication Skills for the Second Language Learner has been written by Dr. Harleen Kaur. In this module, as the title suggests, that we are discussing the second language learner and specifically the problem of communication. Communication is skill, what it needs, what are the problems, and how to overcome those problems of the second language learners. The second language learners do not speak fluently usually because of the lack of confidence, lack of proper English speaking atmosphere at home, basic education in non-English medium school, etc. Improper command over vocabulary and ideas of learners make them think that there is no need of learning English. A second language learner should learn language like a newborn baby and start by listening, speaking, reading, then writing, and one should always speak without fear, and learner should think that nobody is perfect. So making mistakes is part of the curriculum. It's very normal. They should not feel hesitant while committing mistake, because after committing mistake, there are several occasions to rectify those mistakes and improve. Now, how to speak whenever we are dealing with a second language learner, and second language here means English. So how to speak? The first thing is observe and the second thing is imitate. Whenever you observe how others are speaking, you can watch a television where English speakers are there on any English channel, and you can watch good English channels, or you just watch how your teachers are speaking. So you can just observe, you can listen, and then you can watch them about their mouth movements, about their body language, how they, while speaking, how they react, and then you can imitate them. You can repeat whatever they are saying, the way they are saying, and then you can speak. That is the usual thing how second language learners are being taught. But when we talk about communication skills of the second language learner. So first of all, we must know what is communication. According to the concise Oxford English Dictionary, there are 4 meanings of the word communicate: share or exchange information or ideas, convey an emotion or feeling in a non-verbal way, pass on an infectious disease, transmit heat or emotion. But we are here concerned with communication of language, and language is a tool for second language learner. I.A. Richards, a great critic and teacher of language, propounded the idea that science makes statements and poetry pseudo-statements. When a scientist says that he observed 10,000 of stars, he makes a statement. But when a poet writes that he saw 10,000 stars at a glance, he makes a pseudo statement, because he never wanted to give you the correct number of stars for counting or something. He had some other point to convey, other feeling to convey, and that he conveys through his pseudo statement. In fact, he means to say that he saw a large number of stars, whereas the scientist observed exactly 10,000 stars. The language of literature is marked by figure of speech and ambiguity, but the language of science is plain, unambiguous, clear, and exact. So while communicating, second language learner should know that for which purpose he is communicating. He is using language as a tool. Second language learner should know the characteristics of language as well, because language, it can be abstract or it can be arbitrary. What do I mean by abstract language? Because as one word depicts many meanings until written with proper context. So it becomes difficult for the second language learner to derive the exact meaning. The second language learner should correlate the word with its exact meaning before interpreting. Now we say it's arbitrary. There is no logical relationship between a word and its meaning. Meaning depends upon the context in which the word is placed. If you put the same word in different context, then it will just may bring different meanings. It is very difficult to find why any rule is applicable and why any word is called so. The second language learner should be acquainted with the vocabulary and its usage and its syntax as well. Now, other than these two, language can be creative and language can be redundancy also. Why creative? Because every day many new words are added in the dictionary and many new words are created by adding prefixes or suffixes. For example, we may take the word smoke and fog. Smog, that is S-M-O-G. So that means smoke plus fog. So that's a new word that we can, previously it was not in the dictionary, but now we can find it easily. Break is a different other word and fast is a different word, but when we put together break fast, we have got a different meaning. So the second language learner should always keep himself updated for comprehending the meaning accurately. A word is interpreted by different individuals in different senses. For example, if one says school, everyone thinks of his or her own school where they used to go to get education. It could be a building or a single story building or a multi-story building. But what happens when we just say school in relation with thought? Then school of thought, it is something else. It doesn't mean any building. It means a different meaning. So the second language learner should not reach any particular conclusion without getting the exact analysis. Language is the most important tool invented by human beings. That is why human being is different from rest of the species, because he can speak, he can express, and he can come to certain conclusions because of this speaking ability. It enables them to express their ideas and emotions emphatically. Man can communicate even without using a language. A little baby cries when he is hungry. Here, communication is taking place with sound and not with language. There is non-verbal communication also, where no words are used, but with actions the things are being said. It is very interesting when we say it's a non-verbal communication. We communicate without words, but really, do you think that words are not there? I say words are there. How? I am speaking without words, but the person who is interpreting me, he is interpreting my gestures with certain words, with certain languages. So, is it really non-verbal? No. The words are there because the listener is interpreting your actions into words. So, it's a different process. Nevertheless, man needs language to express his views because he has a vast number of finer ideas to express than any other living being. Any person can express many ideas at a time with the help of language. It is an important aid for socialization, for it spreads unity round the globe. People of different caste, creed can share their views with one another by the means of using a common language. Just imagine if there is no such language that is common, that is global, then how difficult it could be for everyone to make people understand or to express themselves. We can talk about origin of communication. The seeds of technical communication are endorsed to ancient Greek, the Renaissance and the mid-20th century. In 1953, two organizations concerned with improving the implementation of technical communication were founded on the East Coast of the United States: the Society of Technical Writers and the Association of Technical Writers and Editors. Afterwards, they merged in 1957 to form the Society of Technical Writers and Editors. On the basis of the above observation, we can say that technical communication started with the development of trade and technology, and it became a worldwide accepted fact that all the technocrats, managers need to communicate in plain English in a clear and lucid style. Technical communication is related to trade and commerce. It includes all the official documents. It is a medium which is used to inform, instruct, or persuade. Now, as far as the language of communication is concerned, it is said that it should be simple. You can understand it in a better way if ever you have consulted any literature. Now, in the 18th century literature, like Pope, Edison, and other writers, they used to decorate their language. Whatever they wanted to say, they used to have the heavy words for that. They used to just have more and more figure of speeches to make it a thing that only highly educated person can understand. But when in 19th century, in the Romantic age, William Wordsworth, he tried his hand in poetry. The first thing that he did, it was that it should be written in the common language, in the language of the common man. That literature should not be for the elite or the educated class. Literature should be there for every person. Every person has right to enjoy the literature. So he wrote in the commonest language. The same thing applies over here. When we talk about communication, communication never requires very difficult words, very uncommon words, the words that ordinary person cannot understand. Only a person who is trained enough, only he can understand. No. So the first thing regarding communication for second language learner is they should use the commonest language that is easy for anyone to grasp. Now we are talking about technical communication. Technical communication is a form of communication to convey, share, or exchange of information or ideas in a particular subject, especially applied and industrial sciences. Non-verbal communication, as I was talking about, we should just take care in terms of second language learner. Non-verbal communication includes the overall body language of the person who is speaking, which will include the body posture and hand gestures and overall body movements. The facial expression also play a major role while communication, since the expression on a person's face say a lot about his or her mood. For example, I say go. If I am telling it simply go, it means I am just telling to go. If I say go, that means the facial expression changes, the body language, the intonation changes. That expresses my anger without saying anything more. So using the word also tells in different meaning. But when we say non-verbal, without saying anything, without even using the word go, I can say with my facial expression that in whatever mood I am. So that is the beauty of the non-verbal communication, and the second language learner, whenever he is dealing with other person, should take care while interpreting the language. It can be in the form of pictorial representation, signboard, or even photographs, sketches, or painting. Everything speaks a different language. Communication may be of two types: formal communication and informal communication. Formal means when you are there with your colleague while you are working over there, and informal when you are with your friends, you are talking about various things, and you are just, everything should not be so perfect, you can take liberties. So that is where we say we are informal communication. Formal communication includes all the instances where communication has to occur in a set of formal format. Typically, this can include all sorts of business communication or corporate communication like official conferences, meetings, written memos, corporate letters, etc. Formal communication can also occur between two strangers when they meet for the first time. Hence, it should be straightforward, official always, precise, and has a stringent tone to it. While dealing with the informal things, so it should include instances of free, unrestrained communication between people who share a casual rapport with each other. It does not have any rigid rule or guideline. It need not necessarily have boundaries of time, place, or even subjects for that matter, since we all know that friendly chats with our loved ones can simply go on and on. General communication is one thing that is different from official or formal or informal. It means the kind of verbal and non-verbal communication which is made in daily life. That is important. People talk, converse, they write letters, they describe events, they express their emotions and feelings. No hard and fast rule about communicating the ideas and feelings. Technical communication, on the other hand, is purely specific. It is related to the specific kind of knowledge. There is a special use of language. You cannot just change the boundaries. Although most of the writers have considered technical writing is specific to science or technology or business management. What is the difference between general communication and technical communication? In fact, every writing becomes technical when it is highly specialized. All research papers are technical, whether they belong to literature, humanities, social sciences, or sciences. The main reason is that technical writing is well planned, concise, and it uses technical terms which are defined and universally accepted also. It is register specific because language has variety and it varies according to the subject matter. This is one feature. Second feature is that the language of professional communication is specific to the register of professional courses. It may be medicine, it may be management, it may be commerce or the pure science. It is direct as it provides utmost clarity to the readers. The main objective of the addresser is to make the addressee understand each and every word. Politicians and diplomats often speak in vague words so that they should not be caught. Professionals never do so, as they have to abide by whatever they say or whatever they write. They seldom make a vague or ambiguous statement or commitment. Second language learner, whenever he is communicating through written communication, he should exactly take care of the words being used, the way he is forming the sentences, because whatever meaning he wants to convey as a sender, so receiver should get it the same way. It should be plain and simple because the sentences should be short and structurally straightforward. He should not try to show that how many words I know, how many sentences I can form, how many figure of speeches I can just include or infuse. No, this is not the place to show your learning. For the sake of precision, brevity and exactness, the addresser uses the well-defined words in the technical terms. For example, the sentence, atomic radiation has crossed the danger level, is a part of technical communication. You cannot just beautify this particular sentence. You should not try even. Atomic radiation, if you want to say in the simplest way. The compound word atomic radiation gives us the exact idea of the event what is going to take place. Now, we have understood what is the importance of communication, what is the difference between general communication and technical communication. The second language learner, whenever he comes for a specific, he learns English for a specific uses, the most of the time it is communication, but he feels certain barriers. What barriers can come while learning the communication skill? You can see in this particular diagram that the message is at the center. At one side there is sender, other side there is receiver, and there are many problems surrounding them. What is that? Like lack of knowledge about message, volume of voice, jargon, age difference, different political views, boring messages like losing the interest, disability, unwillingness to listen, verbal messages differs from non-verbal messages, emotional state, speed of dialogue, like if you speak too early, it will be very difficult to understand by the receiver. Different religions, like or lack of interest. Like different religions, how it can be a barrier to communication. Like religion leave apart if even cultures are different. Suppose in a foreign country, it is there in their culture that they greet a woman by holding her hand or by kissing her hand. It is very common and it is quite accepted in their culture. But the moment he is there in India and in a particular village he goes or any area and he does the same thing, then you can imagine that our culture never accepts such gestures, so it will be interpreted in a different way. So that communication will be broken. Whatever he wanted to communicate, the greetings will not be taken in the same way. So a sender or a person who is just communicating should take care that whatever he is communicating, to whom he is communicating, in whatever circumstances he is communicating. So all these factors also affect the speed of the area of the communication. When we say barriers, so socio-psychological barriers are also there. We have 5 senses and we can use all the 5 senses for communicating. Objects which excite the sense organs are called signs. Senses respond to signs, sensations transported to the brain through the sensory nerve network. So communication aims at perfect understanding between the addresser and the addressee. Any flaw in the message and the media may cause misunderstanding. The flaws in communication are due to certain causes. These causes are called semantic gap. Semantic gap may be divided broadly into 2 types. One is physical and the second is human. Now, what are the physical barriers for second language learners? By a physical barrier, it is meant the barriers caused by the defect in the sound system, in the internet, in the website, that are not man-made, like not intentional. These barriers can be removed immediately. If there is a defect in the microphone or the transformer, the mechanic will correct it. So far, internet and websites are concerned, they are operated by men of high skills and it is their duty to see that the working of the internet should be proper. When we come to the other kind of barrier, that is human, so we should take care that the human barrier, what is more important? The reason is that the defect lies in the speaker or the writer. The barriers may be very common to both oral and written form of communication, that is insufficient command over language or little knowledge of the background of the listener or the reader. So both are equally important. You should have command over language while communicating, and the other thing, before communicating, you should have knowledge of the background of the listener. Now, while discussing human barriers and discussing insufficient command of language, there are something more to discuss. The words and their organization into sentences are the basic components of language. Words are of 2 types, structural word and the content words. Pronouns, auxiliary verb, articles, preposition, conjunction, all these things are there in the structural words. They are so called as they form the structure of a sentence. Nouns, adjective, verbs, adverbs, they are content words because their words carry meaning. There must be a proper coordination between structure words and content words to form a correct sentence. Besides, the user must know the meaning of the content words he or she is using to convey or to communicate. Now, lack of required knowledge of the listener or the reader's background may also create a difference, like it is high-tech, low-tech or layman to whom you are talking. You must have just experienced it that a person is same, but when he is talking in the classroom, the way he uses language, the same language is different. When he talks to his people like his kids or wife at home, he uses it in informal way. And the moment he is talking to someone like a worker, a maid, a rickshaw puller, then the way he talks absolutely changes. So that is, one should take care while communicating that to whom you are just making the statement. What do we mean by high-tech readers? They are experts in their fields and understand the technical terms used by the addressee fully. Therefore, the frequent use of technical terms and jargons are expected by them gleefully. Now just imagine, I give you an example for that. Suppose a poet is talking to a reader who is well versed, who is a critic or a student of literature, and if he says, my meter is this, I use this meter, what will happen? He knows that the person concerned will understand that he is talking about the technical term meter, that what he uses, how he divides his sentences or his poems into sentences, the division. But a layman may understand meter in a different way, that how he can measure the cloth or something like that. So it depends upon person to person with whom you are communicating. So high-tech readers are those which stand at the same level of the communicator. High-tech listeners and readers, they require minimum detail. For them, the language should be precise and standard. The manuals made for engineers use a highly technical language and they cannot be understood by the common people. In the same way, things said for doctors, they are said in such a way that the students of medical field, they can interpret it in the same way. All these above things can create barriers if not taken care of. When we say low-tech listeners and readers, what we mean by it, that they belong to the other fields of specialization. It's not that they are low IQ people, but the thing is that they don't belong to this particular field, so they are low-tech listeners. They cannot understand the same way those terminology told by you, but they have the working knowledge of the field of the addressee. For example, an electrical engineer has a good working knowledge of mechanical engineering, but there are many terms and acronyms and abbreviations specific to that particular branch. Therefore, if an electrical engineer writes to a mechanical engineer in a high-tech language, there will be a communication barrier. So when we talk about low-tech communication, so that is whenever you are using proper words or the word which are there in the common usage, then you should mean the same thing. So many words are there that may have different meanings for different persons. So while speaking, second language learner must take care of this particular thing, that who is the receiver. There are certain tips for effective ways of communication for second language learner. He should work on voice modulation, because there are many things while communicating. If you just have the voice modulation, then you are there to express it fully. Suppose whether you are angry, you are in love, or you want to say something in a different way, so that words only cannot carry that meaning. Voice modulation needs a lot. A very simple sentence everybody speaks. Every boy and girl wants to say that, I like you. And suppose I say, I like you. Does it convey the meaning? Though the words are same? No, it's not. The voice modulation should be there. I like you. So, the way he wanted to convey, it will be received by the receiver in the same way. So, voice modulation is something, the intonation, the rising and the falling sound, a second language learner must understand them as well. Then the second thing is work on body language. The way you are saying, the way your body parts are moving, like whether you are confident or not while communicating, that is expressed through your body language. Suppose you are talking to your boss and all the time you are just having your hands with one another like this thing. So what will happen? That he will understand that you are nervous, you are not confident, and whatever you want, however good you may be in whatever you are going to express or communicate, you will not get success, because this thing will be clear. Suppose you are there on the stage and just addressing the audience, and before addressing the audience you are making such movement that will make it clear that you are nervous. So body language is very, very important. You should read more, because if you are a good reader, then the things will be there in the store also that you can use while communicating out of the way also. Then listen. You should be a good listener as well. Reading, writing are important, but listening is also very, very important. So try to listen and observe. Interact with qualitative people. Improve on your topic of discussion. Practice meditation and good thoughts. Think and then speak. Don't speak for the sake of speaking. Do not speak too fast. Use simple vocabulary. Expose your ears to as much native dialogues as you can. This includes watching and listening to English language films, TV, radio, and even music. Familiarize yourself with commonly used phrases and patterns of intonation. Why phrases, I say? Suppose a person says, it's raining cats and dogs. You are not aware of the phrase. You may not understand the meaning, it's raining cats and dogs. What the speaker means, that it's raining heavily. But you cannot understand if you just translate what does cat means over here or the dog is doing over here. So you are at loss. So try to learn commonly used phrases. Repeat the words you hear aloud. The best way is stand in front of the mirror. Whatever you have in your mind, speak it loudly. The basic problem with second language learner is that their ears are not used to listen their voice in that particular language. You speak to yourself in Hindi. Then whenever you speak in English, all the senses are not combined to give that effect. So first of all, your ears should be in the practice of hearing English in your own voice. So repeat the words or ideas, express them aloud. You can just get it taped, recorded. Focus upon the pronunciation of the letters and the intonation should be there. I am doing MA. It's one thing. I am doing MA. What does the communication, effect of communication is? The pronunciation. The effect of your mother tongue should not be there. So neutral accent must be practiced. Every listening to and singing along with Western pop and rock music can produce astounding results. Try to think in English. What do I mean when I say try to think in English? Many times it happens, you think in Hindi, then you translate it, and it takes the time, it takes the gap of translation from one language to another. That is the process going on within that creates a very bad impression. It comes with practice. Instantly you cannot change your mind and you cannot direct your mind to think in English. But if you will practice, definitely the ideas will start flowing in that particular language. First of all, some words will be used, but later on the process will be smooth. For 10 minutes each day, make it a habit to banish your native tongue from all mental activity and construct your thoughts in English. Whenever you have the opportunity, converse in English with your friends, with your colleagues, with your teachers, with your mentors who can tell your mistakes. It's no secret. The only way you will gain confidence in speaking, which in turn leads to a more natural sounding fluency, is through frequent usage. So it is said that you learn speaking by speaking only. There is no other way. Constant practice and rigorous implementation of these ideas will help one to become a good communicator. Create an open communication environment. Always keep the receiver in mind. Avoid having too many transfer stations. Do not communicate when one is emotionally disturbed. Be aware of the diversity in culture or language. Use appropriate non-verbal clues. Select the most suitable medium. Analyze the feedback. Don't ever become disheartened because practice makes a man perfect. Always prepare yourself. Don't be overconfident. Channelize your fear because don't be scared of committing mistakes. Interact with your audience. Eliminate negative thoughts and negative feelings. Be receptive to new ideas. Every time learn something new. Take responsibility. Respect others' point of view. Recognize the impact of stress on communication. And finally, be real. Thank you for visiting EPG Pathshala.